reach the top somehow. I'll keep moving on. I won't stop now. I'll keep moving on till I reach the top somehow. I'll keep moving on. I won't stop now. I'll keep moving on till I reach the top somehow. I'll keep moving on.
Yes, my Straight Talk family, it is time to, as we say, keep moving on. And it's long past the time when I should have said greetings to the world. So what? I must humbly apologize for my tardy start. Just here, wasting time and totally unaware that the time has just gone past me by. So forgive me, my Straight Dog family, and do not worry, I am here. It's time for me to say good night to St. Kitts and Nevis. It is time for me to say good night to the entire Caribbean region. We reach you all the way down south, even on the South American mainland, especially in Guyana. We come up to Trinidad and Tobago, Barbados, Grenada, St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Dominica, Martinique, Guadeloupe, Antigua and Barbuda. How is Montserrat tonight? How is our sister island Nevis? And how is Anguilla, St. Martin, St. Eustatius, Saba, St. Bartholomew? The USVI, St. Thomas, St. Croix, Puerto Rico. How is the USVI? The BVI, beg your pardon. That's Tatola, Anegada, Virgin Gorda. Did I call St. John? If not, hello, St. John. What about the diaspora? We are being reached all over the globe because we are on the World Wide Web. And we reach and we communicate with you in the Kittitian and Division and Caribbean diaspora all over the world. Some of you I know are in Africa. There's some of you in Asia. And there are a whole lot of you in North America. And how can we forget Europe? Chris, somewhere there in the UK, my brother. But wherever you are, greetings, my dear brethren. And we do have first-timers because there many of you who share the link, and we are eternally grateful for that. And for the first timers, we say welcome, and trust and hope it won't be your last time. But just to inform you that Straight Talk facilitates, promotes free expression on issues of national, regional, and international interest, be they legal, be they environmental, be they social, economic, and or political issues. On this forum, you have an opportunity to express yourselves freely. On this program, we try to raise the level of national, regional, and international consciousness. We try to raise the level of national, regional, and international discourse by alerting our people to their rights, to their responsibilities, and certainly to their obligations. My name is Ian Patches Liebert, and I thank Almighty God for blessing me with the opportunity to join you in conversation on yet another occasion. And as your host, I will always remain an untiring advocate of truthfulness. I'm always mindful of the words of a hymn, favorite hymn of mine, written by Thomas Jackson and Franz Joseph Haydn. And the excerpt goes something like this: we are called to be God's prophets, speaking for the truth and right, standing firm for godly justice, bringing all those evil things to light. So let us seek the courage needed, our high calling to fulfill, that we all may know the blessing of the doing of God's will. There's some of you who looked for me on Monday. I did in fact tell you we're going to take a sabbatical, and I did on Monday. So forgive the inconvenience. You probably did not hear me or did not listen, and I apologize for that. And my Straight Talk family, and for the first timers, nothing and absolutely nothing is watered down on this program. We're not about sensationalism. We're not about making things interesting, neither by omission or by exaggeration. Straight Talk is not about excitement, especially if that comes at the expense of accuracy, because we lean on the facts, and it is my bounden duty to present what I always call the unvarnished truth, the plain truth, especially when it comes to governance in St. Kitts and Nevis, in the Caribbean, and a matter of fact, all over the globe, wherever we find our reach and find you and reach you. Because the program joins us together with people not only across our federation. We are joined with people in the diaspora around the world. Some we know very well and have met. Others we don't know, and many we will never meet physically in particular. We do meet you spiritually, I know, so many times. Some of us will agree with positions of truth. The positions of truth advance on Straight Talk. And some will disagree, and we can understand that, because we are a different people. We promote a diversity in views. And if we disagree, that's fine, but please do not let us ever become disagreeable, my people. So in the meanwhile, let's thank Almighty God for guiding our conversation today. As always, let us, my Straight Talk family, understand how good and how pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity. Let us therefore hope and pray for that day when we will all sing his praise together. So welcome again, my Straight Talk family, and I say thanks for those who share the link. May I remind you that Straight Talk is a participative program. By that I mean we include your calls, we include your emails. And if you're so minded calling, the numbers are on your monitors, your screens. Some who like the cloak of anonymity, we give you access via our email platform, and that address is also on your screens. So my Straight Talk family, welcome again. And I must always say a special welcome to my Straight Talk Junior Brigade. Young Dwayne, Jasmine, Tristan, Shama, my good young, intelligent, up-and-coming leader, I predict. Saw him on Saturday, and he's so full of confidence. Shama, keep it up. Kevin, Hanley over there in Nevis, young Rue, Costa, Jamal in Anguilla, Travis Trevon of Ponds Extension, and my grandson Neymar and his good friend Saraya, Elizabeth, and that special lady in St. Louis, Carla in Sandy Point, Packard. Are you there on the television? Your wife complained about you. And how is the Queen over there in Texas? Time has flown, and we move right into our observations. As usual, we do highlight the current issues in this section. We do some reflection, we ask some questions, and then we try to establish what has changed since, what is expected next, and what we have learned as a people, because it's all a learning process. And after our observation in review, we move to our thesis for tonight, which I've titled Update, the latest story of the BHS. Some say Bassi High School, some say the Barbados High School. But on a sad note, my Straight Talk family, we do recognize, and it would be remiss of us, I should say, if we did not make mention of the sad passing of popular vocalist and lead singer of the Collision Band, Jermaine Chubby Clark, who was shot and killed in what police described as an execution-style attack in Keys Village in the early hours of Sunday morning, last Sunday, the 5th to be exact. And this continues to send shock waves not only across the Federation, but throughout the diaspora around the globe, because the Collision Band was an up-and-coming group of youngsters led by Chubby. But he has now gone to the great beyond. And we here at Straight Talk can only extend sincere condolences to his father, Hilton Clark. We always exchange pleasantries when I see him in church on Sunday. And we'll always remember that Boys Brigade handshake, sure and steadfast. To his mother Joycey as well, as the music fraternity in St. Kitts and Nevis and beyond. We know that Jimmy Cliff once said that who feels it knows it. And we can say anything truly, but the family, his parents and his loved ones and those close to him, they feel it and they know it, unlike what we think we know. But all I can say is that death, my straight dog family, is a process. So we hope and pray that the soul of young Jermaine Chubby Clark will rest in eternal peace. I heard of the passing of an old stalwart from King Street, Moses Davron. I was trying to find a picture before I went live, but was unable to do so. Moses played football. I think he was the Rovers captain. That's many, many, many decades ago. He migrated to the United States, lived somewhere in New York. And many of the younger ones, I'm sure, won't remember Moses, very good footballer. But he too, to his family, we extend condolences and trust that his soul will rest in eternal peace. And my first observation, my straight dog family, I want to remind you of one of our programs some weeks ago, or perhaps months ago, I should say. Yes, months ago, sometime last year. When I told you that the Reds, these Reds, they call themselves the Labour Party. We call it the Labour Party Political Club. But the Reds started on a roll moving towards elections. Remember, it started in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. But the world boss Ralph Gonzalez lost. The Reds then moved on to St. Lucia. Philip Pierre won. Then they moved on to Barbados. And believe it or not, Mia Motley won her third consecutive election, hands down. I've never heard it, winning all the seats in the parliament for 3 consecutive elections. Yes, we may argue that the turnout was the lowest ever in Barbados election history, 28 or 30%, somewhere thereabouts. But that's for another time. But the Reds keep moving on. And Gaston Brown of Antigua and Barbuda, Prime Minister Gaston Brown, made this announcement just yesterday.
One final announcement. So our distinguished Governor General Sir Rodney Williams today issued the writ of elections. And nomination day will be on Monday the 13th of April. That's Monday the 13th of April. Are you ready for the big date? Are you ready? And polling day will be on April 30th, 2026.
So election day in Antigua and Barbuda, April 30th. We are here pondering, when is Terence Michael Drew going to go back to the people for a mandate? Because after 4 years, he has delivered nothing. And he has not only the country, but even at CARICOM now, everything just seems to be going bad around Terence Michael Drew. The Bahamas as well dissolved the parliament prorogued today, I think it was, and we're hearing about Dominica as well. But we will keep you updated on the elections that just seem to be rolling out right across the Caribbean. And in our second observation, just over 1 week ago, or more ago, Terence Michael Drew took his 100-man delegation to Abuja, Nigeria. And we remember that, my Straight Dog family. Terence Michael Drew took his delegation to Abuja. He told us this.
I, as the Prime Minister, will not depend on donors to take our people to the world. This has to be part and parcel of what the government has to do. And that is what I would put there. We cannot do things as normal.
So, having, according to him, I doubt it very much, paid for a 100-man delegation to Abu, Nigeria. The U.S. Embassy just yesterday issued, interestingly, my Straight Dog family, this travel advisory to its citizens traveling or moving around Abuja. And as you can glean from your screens, the U.S. Embassy and Consulate in Nigeria issued what it called a security alert from Abuja. And it reads, as you can glean from your screens once more, we can read that together. On April 8th, 2026, the U.S. Department of State authorized the voluntary departure of non-emergency U.S. government employees and family members from the U.S. Embassy Abuja due to the deteriorating security situation. The U.S. Embassy in Abuja will remain open but will have limited ability to provide emergency services to U.S. citizens in Nigeria. The embassy, in consultation with the State Department, will reassess this status regularly. The U.S. Consulate, it continues, or the U.S. Consulate General, that should be, in Lagos, will continue to provide routine and emergency services to U.S. citizens in Nigeria. Department of State Travel Advisory for Nigeria remains at level 3, recommending travelers reconsider travel to Nigeria due to crime, terrorism, civil unrest, kidnapping, armed gangs, and inconsistent availability of health care services. Yes, as Terence Michael Drew continues to build that transatlantic bridge, of course, he obviously has to consider the crime, and we spoke to the genocide, the persecution of citizens, Christians rather, as sometime last week. And as a final observation, the row over the appointment of the CARICOM Secretary General continues. Our chairman, who has been referred to as lacking in competence, has been tight-lipped as questions remain. Others have commented, but Kamla Prasad Besesa is adamant that Trinidad and Tobago needs answers. That's a story we're following. We're not going to add credence to Ralph Gonzalez. He was there, he's gone. So we're going to leave Ralph Gonzalez alone and give him no notoriety. But those are my observations in review. And just before that, the President Ali of Guyana also made comment. We, at some time, will take that up. But those are my observations in review for tonight. And I move right into my thesis, which I said I've titled Updated, the latest story of the BHS. Some call it the Barbados High School. Some call it the Bastia High School. But for over 10 years and more, a fierce debate has been raging over the BHS. And many are asking when or will it ever end? The frank response is, truth be told, as long as there's PAM, PLP, or the Labour Party, it will never end. Because the taxpayers in this country will never forgive the callous behavior of Terence Michael Drew and the cabinet of experts, which includes the slow student Jeffrey Hanley. Because after spending millions of dollars of the people's money on this, as we know, and can call it, this shovel-ready project, they have abandoned it.
There was a shovel-ready project, which is the Barclay High School. The project had already, the plans had already been done, the impact studies had already done, but you choose to shelf it. Today, the ordinary man, construction workers, instead of having the tools rusting, could have been there working. People could have been earning money at the Barclay High School. And why it was shut down? Because of politics. It had nothing to do with water, the water situation. So we got to be careful. It's politics why the country is stagnant. As a matter of fact, since the change of government, I am involved in construction. I haven't worked for the year. The country is stagnant, actually maybe in reverse. It ain't got nothing to do with the farm administration. It is, I think, it's because of incompetence why we are facing the situation that we are facing.
Incompetence, according to this call-out. Because the new school was designed, an environmental impact assessment was done, and approved by the Development Control and Planning Board, including a myriad of tests in accordance with the DCPA, the Development Control and Planning Act. But sadly, the ruling administration changed and politics overrode the science and all other factors, even basic common sense. When a leader can suggest that the issue at the Barclay High School was mold, his head had to be buried in a bucket of poop. But we ask the question, why are these leaders so political about the education of our children? Students and teachers cried out, recall, about the conditions at the BHS. Parents stress about the medical complaints from their children. And so too teachers, my Straight Talk family.
This has been happening for some time now. Since school opened, we have been having foul scents in the staff room. And not only that, apart from the scent, people are feeling very sick. Every day you come up here, you feel unwell. You're just feeling nauseous and your tongue tingling, your face itchy. Right now I am here, my face is full of the rash. So this isn't anything new.
Nothing new at all, my Straight Talk family. But reflect, the main building that housed the Barclay High School was originally constructed, I stand to be corrected, but in the early 20th century, around 1918. And this building actually dates back to the era of the Barclay Grammar School, which later evolved into the Barclay High School in 1967. So while the school itself, as Barclay High, is relatively modern, the physical structure is much older, over a century old, because before it was eventually demolished by the slow student. And this structure is old, my Straight Talk family. But for more than a decade, the issue of the Barclay High School has stood not merely as an educational concern, but as a symbol of governance, accountability, and national priorities. what should have been a straightforward commitment to our children's future has instead become a prolonged political saga, one marked by delay, deflection, and decisions that raise more questions than answers. Tonight, I speak not just to recount events, but to set the record straight for the sake of truth and for the sake of posterity, my Straight Talk family. For nearly 12 or 13 years, the Basse High School has remained at the center of national debate. Under the Douglas administration, the Douglas Labour administration, serious structural and environmental concerns emerged. Reports from respected professional bodies, including regional public health authorities, were commissioned. Yet those findings were never fully disclosed to the public. Transparency was promised, but never delivered. Action was required, but not adequately taken. In 2015, the people demanded change, and the Team Unity administration was elected. Recall, unlike its predecessor, this administration took tangible steps. That's the Team Unity administration. A temporary location was secured to ensure that students could continue their education in a safer environment. A new site at Ponds Nevis was carefully selected after due consideration, my Straight Talk family. The design for a modern, fit-for-purpose school was completed. Importantly, it was reviewed and approved by the Development Control and Planning Board and supported by an environmental impact assessment. These were not arbitrary decisions. They were the result of planning, consultation, and adherence to established procedures. Equally important, the process under Team Unity included public consultation. Citizens were informed. Stakeholders were engaged. There was a clear attempt to build consensus and move forward in a transparent and accountable manner. However, in 2022, following the political upheaval, a new administration took office. Instead of building upon the progress already made, a principle that any mature democracy should uphold, the Jew Labour administration chose to abandon the prepared plans entirely. The concept of continuity in governance was discarded, seemingly on the basis of politics rather than on the basis of prudence. The decision was made to return the school to its original site, a move that has sparked widespread controversy. Questions about safety, environmental suitability, and long-term viability remain insufficiently addressed. Even more troubling is the revelation that significant portions of the construction are being prefabricated overseas, specifically in Barbados. And this raises a fundamental contradiction. The public has been told that 90% of the workforce will be local. Could you imagine that, my Straight Talk family?
Specifically to the Basse High School construction, 90% of the workers for the Basse High School will be locally drawn. Of course, with the modern technologies that is being used in this school and being the first of its kind in the region, there are some technologies that our contractors might not have been exposed to, and it is an opportunity for them to learn from. So 90% of the workers must come from St. Kitts, and even from...
My Straight Talk family, let's be reasonable, let's be rational, let's be sensible. We are an intelligent people. If the majority of the structure is being manufactured abroad and merely assembled here in St. Kitts, What does that truly mean? Can we honestly say that local workers will benefit in a meaningful way from this project? Or is this simply a statement designed to reassure rather than reflect reality? Moreover, unlike the previous Team Unity administration, there has been no public consultation. Decisions of national importance are being made behind closed doors, while the language of transparency, accountability, and good governance continues to be repeated. But words alone do not build trust. Actions do. Once there is labor is reduced by 2/3, yes, there will be 60 or a 70% reduction, because this precast structure will cover over 50 or 60% of the project, which is a standard rule when dealing with precast development or construction. The bulk of the value of the Bastille High School project has been exported to Barbados. And this money should have stayed in St. Kitts and Nevis. That's why so many call it the Barbados High School. This is a poor decision, a terrible decision by the Terence Michael Drew cabinet. And it is even more terrible for a country that is still recovering from COVID. Terence Michael Drew gave Barbados the lion's share of this project. But my straight dog family, the story of the Bastille High School is more than a timeline of political administration. It is a test of leadership. It is a measure of whether those entrusted with power are willing to act in the best interest of the people, even when it requires continuity, humility, and openness. We must ask ourselves, therefore, are we satisfied with decisions made without consultation? Are we comfortable with abandoning completed plans, approved designs, and vetted locations only to start anew under a cloud of uncertainty? And most importantly, are we willing to accept a process that leaves more questions than answers about the future of our children? And this is not about partisanship. This is not about Labour or PAM or PLP. This is about principle. The education of our youth is too important to be treated as a political football. The people of this nation deserve clarity. They deserve honesty. They deserve leadership that values continuity over convenience and transparency over secrecy. Straight Talk wanted to ensure that the full story of the Bastille High School was told, not distorted, not hidden, but told in its entirety. But only through truth can we build trust. And only through trust can we build a future worthy of our children. And I could not trust the propaganda being peddled by Terence Michael Drew and the slow student Jeffrey Hanley. When I heard the Prime Minister's press secretary report that the construction of the Bastille High School had started in Barbados, I said, wow.
So the question now is, has construction of the Bastille High School truly started? Yes, construction has started. As expressed by the minister last year, June, construction had commenced with the excavation of the site. This ran concurrently with the rendering and molds, design plans, etc. being prepared and tested at the factory in Barbados. As of now, the Bastille High School is fully designed and precasting and molding works at the factory has already begun.
Well, my Straight Talk family, when I heard that, I said, what? Fully designed? Has an EIA been done? I checked at the Development and Control and Planning Board, and they said no. So at my expense, I bought an airline ticket and I traveled to Barbados. A very good friend of mine arranged a tour at Preconco for me, incognito. Never knew who I was. So I went to Barbados and I visited Preconco, my straight dog family. I was showed and I inspected some precast panels and confirmed that they were not for St. Kitts, my straight dog family. These precast panels were for Barbados. But precast slabs, my straight dog family, are nothing new for St. Kitts and Nevis. In St. Kitts and Nevis, we have done precast forms before. I can think, my straight dog family, of the Second Cruise Pier project. When these precast panels were done, my straight dog family. Precast panels were done right here in St. Kitts and Nevis. Yes, right here in St. Kitts and Nevis, we did that. The subcontractor known as Kelly Construction, my straight dog family. On the site, just from the site, in fact, did all the precast work. My straight dog family. All the precast construction was done there at Port Zante. How many of us remember this work that went on down there at Port Zante? How many of us recall Kelly Construction and the extensive work done by Kelly Construction, my straight dog family? They did lots of work. Lots of work right there at Port Zante. And I can say to you, my straight dog family, that the precast slabs, the precast slabs that were done by Kelly Construction, the subcontractor on our Second Cruise Pier, that were manufactured on site, appeared to be of greater structural integrity. From close up, those at Preconco looked flimsy and made me more concerned about the project being constructed in a country like St. Kitts and Nevis, which is prone to earthquakes. Students and teachers may not experience skin rashes, but God forbid, Preconco may give us a building that will tumble down like a pack of cards after the rumble of the first earthquake to strike St. Kitts and Nevis. My straight dog family, I can say as well to you, I can say as well, my straight dog family, that the work done back then here in St. Kitts was exceptional. And this was done here in St. Kitts and Nevis. So why, my straight dog family, why is the question we ask, why did we have to go and send all our money to Preconco in Barbados? Why? Why did we have to send all our money to Preconco in Barbados? The Barbados High School, without question, my straight dog family, is a reputable institution with a lifespan, like I said, well over 50 years in St. Kitts and Nevis, and one that Straight Talk describes as a venerable institution that is highly respected, trusted and worthy of honor due to its long history of success, stability, and an enduring reputation. The Bassi High School has produced national, regional, and international scholars, governor generals, prime ministers, ministers of government, lawyers, medical doctors, teachers, good and bad politicians. And believe me, this list is not exhaustive. Over the last 12 years, or 13 or more, however, this venerable institution has been thrown into a quagmire that emanated from the dirty politics that is practiced by some who hasten to claim the Bastia High School as their alma mater, implying a nurturing, affectionate connection to that school that they credit for their intellectual growth and development. But when we examine the motto of the Bastia High School, Principia non homines, and think about what some of these men and women are doing to their alma mater, it saddens me to conclude that these very students have grown into women and men but have discarded their principle, totally at variance to the motto of this institution, Principia non homines, meaning principle, not men. Under a 20-year-old Denzel Douglas administration, though everything fell apart, the Bastia High School, the 300-year-old sugar industry, and the country fell apart. Douglas got oil from Hugo Chavez and never paid for this commodity. He sold treasury bonds and wasn't ashamed to even give the church an haircut. He then ran to the IMF to borrow money with cap in hand. Douglas didn't care about people. In fact, he cared about no one. After 20 years of neglecting the required maintenance of the schools, he then ignored the cry of the students. And my straight dog family, he was also cheered along my straight dog family by his slow student, who told us then that absolutely nothing was wrong with the school. Do we believe that, my straight dog family? The slow student said this.
Tell the people the truth about the school's condition. Absolutely nothing is wrong with the grounds of the Bastia High School.
So he has gone back to those grounds. Douglas also accepted the misguidance of his then Minister of Education and others, who turned a blind eye to reports like the former CAFA and also the Whitaker reports, my straight dog family.
Importantly, the Whitaker report noted that although teachers may in fact have been physically affected, some of the effects were psychological in nature. To us in the ministry, as to any reasonable and objective reader, it simply highlights the fact that we as human beings are all psychological beings, and our experiences impact upon our perception.
And my straight dog family, Denzel Douglas and Labour tried in vain to make the Bastia Valley Aquifer an issue. Cheap politics was promoted by Labour in its attempt to override the science. Credit to Team Unity, it was transparent at all times. So it made sure that there was consultation with the people and the facts were revealed.
I advised the government that the siting of the new Bastia High School at the said location at Ponds Estate does not pose a threat or danger to our potable water supply. I did so without any reservation or doubt.
And my straight dog family, Terrence Michael Drew is no doubt in love with Barbados. He got married in Barbados at a government-owned hotel. Two of the largest projects under his administration were given to Bajans. We call the Robert Llewellyn Bradshaw Airport expansion, was handed to David Hines and Caribbean Infrastructure Development Corporation, CIDC. Feasibility studies, he said, were done, having allocated 60 CBI shares, over $30 million to undertake a feasibility study. And now, a US $271 million handed to Picanco, another Belgian company. But the job fair, my Straight Dog family, was announced. A job fair was announced, my Straight Dog family. And guess what? Guess what I can tell you? That no attendee will be told when to report to work. No matter what job fair was announced, no attendee would come back and tell you when they were asked to report to work.
April 10th, we're having the job fair for the Bastia High School. That is going to be up at the solid waste building, the solid waste building. That is going to be there
on Taylor's Range.
On Taylor's Range. And you can go there so that you can register your skill so that you can get that opportunity when the time comes for that job. And
my Straight Dog family, some $27 million was advanced to Picanco.
Bastia High School is a CBI project. That is why I said the CBI projects will be used to give us what is essential. And under the CBI relationship, that is how it is set up. When we took over, we said we're going to use our CBI to build the school. The CBI has its own arrangement built in. And he knows that. And that is what is building up the Bastia High School at this particular time. And within the CBI, they have their own mechanism of choosing who will build and support, especially as it's a statutory body now. It even give it more independence. And so this thing about it trying to cloud it in procurement as if something untoward was done is not so. And so the program with the school has a built-in mechanism that if the CBI inflows drop at any point, there will be a support coming from the government to keep it going. But that the government has to reclaim all its money. There's nothing to hide.
There were lots of things to hide, my Straight Dog family. Because after my trip to Barbados and a tour to Picanco, I had a full tour at Picanco. And I can tell you it was incognito. What I have shown you is the most I can show you at this time. I went to Picanco in Barbados early this week. I then saw some panels packed on a flat rack. They were the only panels to be delivered. And I can confirm that these panels were not for shipment to St. Kitts. They were for other parts in Barbados. My Straight Dog family, I can report tonight that no precast panels are being manufactured for St. Kitts in Barbados. Hear me again. I can report, having been there myself, inside that factory, I can report that no precast panels are being manufactured for St. Kitts and for the Bastia High School. So we ask ourselves, where has this $27 million gone, Terrence Michael Drew? Or perhaps the student can answer us. Where has this $27 million gone? I repeat, there are no precast panels being manufactured for St. Kitts. So we ask again, where has this $27 million gone? Where has it gone? We ask ourselves, my Straight Dog family. These precast panels that I saw, I was not allowed to take pictures inside the factory. But this is outside, and these precast panels just outside here at Piconco are not for St. Kitts. And that's the update, the latest story of the Bastille High School. And that's my story tonight, and I am not going to change it. But I will open the lines and entertain your calls and your emails. And before I do so momentarily, I implore you to respect others. And of course, to do that, you must first respect yourselves. Let us try to be fair to all concerned. And as is my Straight Dog family, in the things we say and do, let's try to build a kinder, gentler St. Kitts and Nevis. And my Straight Dog family, the lines are open, the numbers are on your monitors, and I will report that there are no precast panels being constructed in Barbados. The press secretary must go back to Barbados and tell us where did he see those precast panels that are being built for St. Kitts and the Bastille High School. That is nothing but a flagrant lie. So the lines are open, my Straight Dog family. The numbers are on your monitors, and we will continue to expose this bunch of misfits. Where has all that money gone? Imagine, you are building a school, a $270 million project, and you're telling us that 100 workers will be hired. But I could not trust the propaganda being peddled, and I went to Barbados at my expense because I wanted to ensure that the full story of the Bastille High School was told, not distorted, not hidden, but told in its entirety, my Straight Dog family. Because only through truth can we build trust. And only through trust can we build a future worthy of our children. This is not about partisanship. This is about principle. The education of our youth is too important to be treated as a political football. The people of this nation deserve clarity. They deserve honesty. They deserve leadership that values continuity over convenience. Over here at Piconco in Barbados, again I repeat, I went and had a tour myself, incognito. I know that everybody's gone helter-skelter over there at Piconco and wonder who this guy and how I got into that factory. But I can tell you, my Straight Dog family, there are no panels for St. Kitts, none being manufactured in Barbados. And as I said, it has to be a silly decision. If the majority of this structure of the school is being manufactured abroad and merely assembled on location here in St. Kitts, what does that truly mean? Can we honestly say that local workers will benefit in a meaningful way from this project? Hell no. It is simply a statement designed to try to reassure us rather than to reflect reality. Because, my Straight Talk family, when it comes to precast projects, a high percentage of that precast manufacturing, a high value, is the highest value of the project, 50 or 60%. So, my Straight Talk family, all the money has been exported to Barbados. And Terence Drew must give us an account for all this money that he has spent, my Straight Talk family. The people need to know. The people need to know where this money has gone to. Where has the money gone to is a question we ask, my Straight Talk family. And we will continue to ask that question until we get answers and get appropriate answers at that, my Straight Talk family. And as we progress, my Straight Talk family, 90% of workers from St. Kitts?
Specifically to the Bastia High School construction. 90% of the workers for the Bastia High School will be locally drawn. Of course, with the modern technologies that is being used in this school and being the first of its kind in the region, there are some techniques that are technologies rather that our contractors might not have been exposed to, and it is an opportunity for them to learn from. So 90% of the workers must come from St. Kitts, and even from...
That's what he says. Listen to him carefully again, my Straight Talk family. We don't believe him. We don't believe him at all.
Specifically to the Bastia High School construction. 90% of the workers for the Bastia High School will be locally drawn. Of course, with the modern technologies that is being used in this school and being the first of its kind in the region, there are some techniques that are technologies rather that our contractors might not have been exposed to, and it is an opportunity for them to learn from. So 90% of the workers must come from St. Kitts, and even from...
So, my Straight Talk family, think about it yourselves. Think about the school. Think about the benefits that can be derived, if any, my Straight Talk family. Think about it seriously. Think about the decision made to return the school to its original site. A move that has sparked and continues to spark widespread controversy. Questions about safety, environmental suitability, and long-term viability remain insufficiently addressed, my Straight Talk family. What do you think? What do you think about the revelation that significant portions of the construction of this school are being fabricated overseas, specifically in Barbados? That's what is said. But I went on site and I saw no fabrication going on whatsoever. And this raises a fundamental contradiction to the report provided by the Prime Minister's press secretary. How did he confirm that the construction of the Bastia High School had started? How did he do that? Tell us. You need to come back and tell the nation, how did he come to that conclusion, my Straight Talk family? How did he? This is something we would really like to know. We want to know, how did Javon Liebert come to the conclusion that work had commenced on the school. He told us this.
So the question now is, has construction of the Bastia High School truly started? Yes, construction has started. As expressed by the minister last year, June, construction had commenced with the excavation of the site. This ran concurrently with the rendering and molds, design plans, etc. being prepared and tested at the factory in Barbados. As of now, the Bastia High School is fully designed and precasting and molding works at the factory has already begun.
And my Straight Dog family, I went there and I saw nothing. I saw absolutely nothing. And as I said, why would a decision like that be made when all that work could have been done here? So precast panels, precast forms are nothing new in St. Kitts. And all that money that is exported to Barbados, the concrete, the steel, we have all that material in St. Kitts. As you can see from this particular video, you see the masonry products truck on site. But the masonry project truck on site. SKNMP. Look at the forms. The forms. And that construction was for the St. Kitts, or the second news pier, beg your pardon. But if the majority of the structure, I can't help but repeat, if the majority of the structure is being manufactured in Barbados and merely assembled here in St. Kitts, what does that truly mean? It can only mean one thing. Can we honestly say that local workers will benefit in a meaningful way from this project? Hell no. All this 90% talk is about making a statement designed to try to reassure us and not really to reflect reality. So, my Straight Dog family, this is unacceptable, and we must say it as it is. Once there is precast, labor is reduced by 2/3, we are told. Yes, there will be a 60 or 70% reduction in labor. This precast structure will cover over 50 or 60% of the project, which is a standard rule. So the bulk of value of the Bastia High School project has been exported to Barbados, and this money should have stayed in St. Kitts and Nevis. Stupid decision by Terence Michael Jokola. You're live at 9:17. Good night. Hello,
Good
Cole.
night. Good night back to you, Brother Patches.
Good night, sir.
Good night, all the listeners. Quite some time I haven't uttered my voice, but maybe it was silence for a moment like this. Patches, if what you are saying, and I believe this is the biggest historic heist ever in the Caribbean or anywhere that you could ever heard of such a thing. Our elected officials made the promise for the better of the better of the federation moving forward, and it is a total rip-off. And what is the consequences for these crimes? This is equal to crimes against humanity. For making these fake utterance and promise and still want to continue in their reckless behavior. I never trusted that guy that you just played there that was forecasting the project. But look at you, went and find out what is the real story. So correct me if I'm right, $200+ million. Where is that gone? Whose pocket? Whose plan for this? To give us fake information pertaining to this. I am going to say to the citizens of the Federation of St. Kitts, promises are comfort for fools. And if you all go to the ballot this upcoming election, contemplating the day when the bell will be ring, you all better think twice of not a second chance and let this be a one-term government. And the consequences for each one of them is like equal to treason. We have to deal with them. The next administration have to deal with these criminals, thieves, vagabond, misfits. There are no use for them. Not even jail is good enough for them. I will leave it right there. Thank you for that time.
Thank you very much, my Straight Talk family. And you're so correct. This is serious. Very, very serious, my Straight Talk family. But let's go back to the lines and say goodnight to this caller. It's 9:20. You're live. Hello, caller.
Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
How are you?
I am peaceful. I just recognize the voice. That sounds like the dimple lady. What about yourself? You had a wonderful weekend? Good holiday?
Yeah.
You did?
For life. I'm alive.
Okay. Important, yes.
Because
are you there?
After the quotation, lady.
I haven't heard it tonight. I haven't heard it tonight, and we missed that quotation, yes?
Yes.
You're breaking up, though. Your call is breaking up.
Yes, she cannot get in tonight.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's why I called.
Okay, yeah, we missed that quotation. We normally get through.
Yeah.
She's probably.
Yes, she can.
Yes.
She can. She's trying to reach you, but she can't reach you.
Okay, I'm sure she would. Yes, but thanks a lot for your intervention and reminding us of I call her the quotationist. You call her the quotation lady. That's good. We missed that normal quotation for tonight. Normally our first call. If wherever she is, I know if she was listening, she would send in her quotation. But my Straight Talk family, Someone asked if we had an idea of the costs of the new school under Team Unity. Yes, the new school, it was just over $100 million. I'm trying to remember the exact figure. That's EC dollars. So it was about just over 40 or 45 million US dollars. This is 271 million US dollars. I'm still trying to even confirm as well, because my resource or my source, beg your pardon, did in fact told me that some 3,000 shares were allocated under this public benefit option being approved by the CIU for Preconco Limited. And 3,000 shares would I think it's $275,000 per share. That puts it to well over $500 million. That's US dollars. So we don't know where this money is going to. But you see that Terrence Michael Drew, they are so transparent. So transparent is this government that everything is done in the dark. They are opaque, as someone would say to you, right? The Freedom of Information legislation, there's always some excuse to prevent citizens from getting the information. And this information should be public information. You have a school, it's valued at $270 million or $71 million. Then what? This school is just on either 5 or 6 acres of land. But this prefab structure, again, this precast structure, we understand precast structures, we understand absorbs some or covers over 50 or 60% of the project, which is standard rule. And once there is precast, the other point, labor, the amount of workers required is reduced by another 60 or 70%. But in terms of the precast structure and its value, the bulk of the value of the Basti High School project, we must agree, has been exported to Barbados. What was Terrence Michael July and his cabinet thinking? What was he thinking? This money should have stayed in St. Kitts and Nevis. This is a poor decision by the Terrence Michael Drew cabinet. And it is even more terrible for a country that is still recovering from the hit we got from COVID. Terrence Michael Drew gave Barbados the lion's share of this project. Nothing is here for St. Kitts and Nevis. 9:27. We go back to the lines. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller.
Yes, Patches, good evening, man. How you doing tonight, man?
I am peaceful, my brother. Yourself?
Yeah, pretty good, man. Straight to it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I want to just, I kind of chimed in a little bit late. Didn't get in on your thesis and your observation, really, but I can.
Are you there?
Yeah, I'm still here. You can hear me?
Yeah, but we just lost it for a moment. Yes, yeah, I'm hearing you now.
Okay, okay. Let's go forward real quickly. It's really interesting, to watch and see what's going on in St. Kitts Nevis. And since I've been coming on here talking, it has progressively gotten worse, in my opinions.
Yes, that is true.
We talk about corruption and stuff like that every night, almost we get here. And the observation I made when they got reconnected is like, we saw when the unity was in there was a lot of talk about like scandals and stuff like that. But when we look at this incumbent government right now, there's so much more. If they criticize the unity government, it's outrageous right now. I mean, I don't want to look in the rearview mirror and look back. We got to talk about the government that's in right now. How is the country progressing and advancing? The biggest thing that I can see would have been like the economy. The economy seems to be stagnated. And the way to push that forward is by empowering the locals as much as you can, so the money could spend in the economy. So we look at the big project now, the Bastia High School that you've been talking about. So let me get right to it. Nobody can tell me. We need to get, if we get the transparency, we will see. But not everybody needs that transparency. The work is being outsourced. No doubt about it. No matter what these guys say, after the situation with the East Coast housing, right? That promise that they made for a housing resolution, after that situation fell through, there's nowhere this government should have gone and outsourced that Barbados High School. You would agree, right, Patches?
Of course. Of course.
I mean, just look at it. We could just focus on one issue, one thing. After that housing scheme fell through, because there was that situation was being outsourced. That fell through. And instead these guys wheel and come again, like the Jamaicans say, and go back to the idea of local contractors. Look at what they gone and did with the Barbados High School. They outsourced the whole project. Well, the project has maybe whatever percentage it is that they outsource. They should have tried not to outsource not even 1%. They should have tried and build that school totally local to at least recover from that housing scheme that fell through. Man, the people of St. Kitts and Nevis would have been real happy that they would have done that. But instead, these guys, they're not thinking about the local people. All these guys are thinking, man, is them backdoor deals to put all that money in their pocket, like they did all them years with all that money that came to the CBI. Now we see the other big problem come up with the marijuana thing. They want to push the medical marijuana and block the local farmers down. Continually, this government is ignoring the locals. And these are the people that got to vote in the next election. They just got to pay attention and vote these suckers out next time. I'll leave it there, Patches, and excuse my language.
Yes. How else can you say it, my Straight Dog family? But we go straight back to the lines and say good night to this caller. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller?
Yes again, Brother Patches. I'm going to get in as much punch as I can. In respect to my colleague that just spoke, I agree 100% with his commentary. The jobs, the whole project has been outsourced by foreign. No disrespect to a foreign entity if they have the expertise, and we are lacking of that. But St. Kitts and Nevis have enough raw materials to make these fabs. We have sands, we have rocks, and we could import the cement or whatever method of bringing this mold together, if that was the way. And also, it is very disrespectful to the contractors of the Federation. We should have been playing the leading role, even if we would have a foreign supervisor to make sure this project come to a fruition. But no, Kitishans and Nevisions are not to make money. Money is no use to them. They must live and accept command, jump and how high. These bunch of suckers, patches, read behind my words, the language that I will like to utter. I respect your show. I have no respect for people who disrespect my people. And these bunch of suckers claim them are the Reds, they're full of crap. People of the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis, take heed. Do not put these people back in power. And when they are knocked out, let us try them for treason and their lyingness and misleading of the people. They are worse than the Bernie Madoff Ponzi scheme. Man, I am so furious toward these matters. St. Kitts had COVID. Nevis had COVID. The world had COVID. But let me speak about St. Kitts and Nevis. No work, no money. The housing scheme, that's another fraganaka bull. And now the BHS. Lord have mercy. St. Kitts people has no value. Our contractors has no kind of substance. That is a downgrade. I didn't say it. That's the message that I am interpreting. Patches are going to leave it right there again. I hope others can weigh their commentary and inject their perspective into this mix. But God bless St. Kitts and Nevis. You all will rise and you all will triumph over all these negatives.
Okay.
Thank you for hearing it again.
Thank you very much. And in case you missed it, I said I went to Barbados at my own cost, and I visited Preconco. There I took the liberty to take a picture at their sign at the entrance. Well, I can confirm that no precast panels are there for St. Kitts. Caller, you live. Thank you for holding. Hello?
Mr. Patrick, good night.
Yes, hello. That sounds like the Bible man. Good night, sir. How art thou?
I'm fine. How are you?
I am peaceful. What about you? Yes, you said you're fine.
What about how is your Easter?
My Easter was restful, reflective, you know. And
yeah. Okay, listen here.
Mm-hmm.
I got to go maybe about 5 to 6 patches of scripture, but I ain't going to stop too long on the telephone. Listen, I'm going to ask you a question, Mr. Patrick. This question is, you know, do you know you got an adjustment on the face of the earth?
You have a what?
An adjustment. Any perfect man on the earth. I know that one man was perfect as he walked the
yes, he was crucified.
Yes, he walked the earth.
Yes.
That's Jesus Christ.
Jesus Christo, yes. See.
Now, Patrick, when I got the time, read 130 Psalms. I am going to say something tonight, Patrick. The word of God said, Cain killed his brother Abel. And God called out to Cain.
Mm-hmm.
He asked him, where is your brother? And listen to me. God, when I come round, I come back round. I ain't going to stop too long. Cain tell God, I am my brother's keeper. Now, Mr. Patrick, the Bible said, blessed is the man that considereth the poor. In the time of trouble, the Lord shall deliver him. I was looking, I come to read the thing now. I was looking on Facebook sometime, and I saw something that catch my attention. I am not calling nobody's name. If I have to call people, it's one man I can call. That's Timothy Harris. But I saw a man who people honor was pulling down Mr. Harris, and he gets no attention. And I said to myself, my God, this man who was doing it, he had to have God and mercy on him. I said to myself, he's supposed to be going and talking to the Lord because he's gonna be 90 years on Sunday. And he never crucified Mr. Harris for what I do not know. And the Bible says, pick the beam out of your eye first before you pick it out of your
Okay.
And so I said to myself, Patrick,
yes, sir.
how you going to do that? When you are dirty, you're going to clean up mine?
Okay. I got you loud and clear, Mr.
Mr.
Yeah.
Tonight.
Mm-hmm.
I am saying to you, the man is supposed to, we are our brothers, Keith and Mr. Patrick.
Okay, I got you loud and clear, Mr. Bibleman.
You got me loud and clear?
Yes, thank you very much.
Yeah, no, you got me loud and clear.
Okay, got you
but
loud.
Patrick,
Yes.
Patrick, listen to me. Listen, I'm finished now.
Yeah, please, I how'd you?
Listen to me, Mr. Patrick. Listen, I can finish now. I am the Bible man. Do not like to say we are our brother's keeper. We have to live with one another. We have to pull up one another, and that's it.
Okay.
And so, Mr. Patrick, it is heart-rending to hear this man taking Timothy's life. Patrick, nobody could stop him.
Okay, got you.
I am finishing now. Listen here.
Yeah, man, just wrap up for me. Wrap up for me, please.
If God said Timothy Harris is supposed to be the next prime minister, nobody could stop it.
That is correct. Okay, thanks a lot, Mr. Bibleman. Let's go back to the lines. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller?
Yeah.
Thank
Allow me 30 seconds. Let me make a plug real quick, man. If you allow me 30 seconds or so, please.
Yes, please.
Tomorrow over in Nevis, there's going to be a protest march against the the marijuana laws. That's number one. Number two, I want to acknowledge DJ Marisha for his efforts for bringing forth the information on the burning issues facing the citizens of the Federation. And lastly, Patches, concerning that Destiny Project and Nevis, I got a question for you real quick. The offer that these guys were given, I noticed they revised it to like, let's say what $200 or something like that. Being that proposed Destiny Project, right? The utterances recently is that they're going to try to run it through the CBI program. So isn't that as of going through the CBI program is going to be a federal government then, isn't it? When any projects come and they're going through the CBI program, it's deemed a federal project at that point, right? Isn't it?
That's correct, yeah.
So my question for you is that wouldn't Sinkit citizens also shouldn't they be offering Sinkit citizens a piece of the pie as well, and just not divisions only? And then I wanted maybe ask another question to you, and it's concerning the access to the beach and stuff like that, because we see that there was a trench that was somebody broadcast that there was a trench that was made across that road going down to that Friars Beach bars over there like 2 nights ago. Is that going to block off the access road to the beach? And if so, is the government or whoever gave those instructions and whoever carried out the instructions, is anybody in terms of that action is in breach of the laws? As the points, the sections in the Constitution, can you cite those sections in the Constitution that gives the citizens access to the beach? I think it's section 28.1, maybe up to 28.6. I mean, you can, if you can research that for us, for those who's interested in learning the Constitution and the laws of the land, and I just wanted to point that out.
That's I think that's found in the legislation, the Development Control and Planning Act, not the Constitution, but I can find it at some place. But how you interpret access is another question, huh?
I would stand corrected if I'm wrong by any utterances they just made, but I just want to see if you can bring that information forward for the listening audience. And because the Friars bars and the beach bars over there on that south side it's a big issue right now, where the livelihoods of the bar owners are being threatened to be taken away. And we gotta bring that in the fore. We gotta bring that forward, man. We gotta bring that information forward. I mean, if the government is going to promote that type of stuff, I just want to know if they are breaking the law. I mean, if the government is breaking the law themselves, I mean, what kind of situation is that they're creating for us as regular citizens? But I just wanted to see if you can do some homework and bring that forward, man. All right? But thanks a lot, man. I'll leave it there. Let somebody else come in, man. You guys have a good night, and thanks for the time. Appreciate it. Thanks
for your contribution, as usual. I vaguely recall, though, that it's the legislation that deals with the access you're talking about. It's the Development Control and Planning Act. I stand to be corrected, but I'll try and find that before I conclude tonight. I may be wrong, but for some reason I believe it was found in that particular act. Yes, no, I think I'm right. It's found. It's not a constitution. It was not in the Constitution. It is, in fact, in the Development Control and Planning Act, 67, section 67. I can find that right now for you. It's coming up, my brother, as it relates to public access to beaches. That's the Development Control and Planning Act, Cap 20.07. It reads, I will tell you in a few seconds, that the public access and rights of way to beaches. It's found in the Development Control and Planning Act, Section 67, and Section 67, subsection 1 reads, and I quote, there shall be at least one public landward access to every beach in St. Christopher. Where there is no alternative public access, traditional public use of a private landward access through an existing private development shall be sufficient grounds for establishing a public way over that access for the purposes of access to the beach by the public. Subsection 3 reads, where the only landward access to a beach is through an existing private development where traditional public use pursuant to subsection 2 has not been established, the Crown may acquire the right to public use of that beach access by gift, agreement, compulsory acquisition, or in exchange for other property interests, financial exemption, or by such other means as the minister may recommend. Section 4, subsection 4, where a proposed development is likely to adversely affect the public's ability to access a beach from the landward side, any development permission shall require as a condition a landward public access to the beach through the development at all times free of charge. And subsection 5, 67, subsection 5, in this section, traditional public use means peaceable, open, and uninterrupted enjoyment for a period of 20 years or more, or such shorter period as the minister by notice published in the Gazette may prescribe. So to answer your question, my brother, the legislation that deals with public access and rights of way to beaches is the Development Control and Planning Act, Cap 20.07, as revised on the 31st of December 2009, and it states in subsection 1, there shall be at least one public landward access to every beach in St. Christopher. Yes, and I think in Nevis, they do have a similar ordinance they're called in Nevis. And I do concur with you that I saw parts of Jeffrey Marishaw's live sometime early this week. I think it was Wednesday night I saw it. Yeah, I think it was Wednesday. I fell asleep, but we must commend him for his human service to bring these matters to light. I did in fact deal with the Friarsby issue before, and sometimes one can only say that this Jew Labour administration is not an administration for the people. And that's what I will say tonight. That will be suffice. But however, as we continue our discussion tonight on the Bastia High School and the update I provided, I believe we would all agree, my Straight Talk family, that instead of building upon the progress already made, and that's a principle that any mature democracy should uphold. The Jew Labour administration, when it came to office, chose to abandon the prepared plans that they found there entirely. We can think of the solar farm. We can think of, and we are speaking of the Basti High School. Monies were paid for the environmental and impact assessment. Of course, that can't come free. Money was paid for the designs of the school. Of course, that can't come free. And money was paid for other studies. So this concept of continuity in government or governance was totally discarded, and only discarded or totally discarded on the basis of politics rather than on the basis of prudence. And a decision was made to return the school to its original site. And this move has sparked and continues to spark widespread controversy. Because certainly questions about safety, about environmental suitability, and long-term viability remain insufficiently addressed. And even more troubling was a revelation that significant portions of the construction of this new Basti High School were being prefabricated overseas in Barbados. And this raises a fundamental contradiction. You would anticipate that a capital project, construction in the cost of over $200 million, you would anticipate that it would be so shaped that money, that investment in the construction of a new school would have a cascading effect on the economy. Money would circulate in the economy. The construction, the workers, would really impact what I call the grassroots economy. But no. The public has been told that 90%, yes, the public was told that 90%, my Sri family, 90% of the workers would come from overseas. You heard me, yes. The public was told that 90%, as I said, will come from overseas. That's what they told us. 90% of the workforce would come from overseas. Who were they trying to fool? The slow student was trying to fool somebody.
April 10th, we're having the job fair for the Basti High School. That is going to be up at the solid waste building, the solid waste building. That is going to be there
on Taylor's Range.
On Taylor's Range. And you can go there so that you can register your skill, so that you can get that opportunity when the time comes for that job.
And I guarantee, my Shredog family, I guarantee that no one who attended, I think it was today, not too certain, would have been told when they should come out to work. But getting back to the 90%.
Specifically to the Bastia High School construction. 90% of the workers for the Bastia High School will be locally drawn. Of course, with the modern technologies that is being used in this school and being the first of its kind in the region, there are some techniques that are technologies rather that our contractors might not have been exposed to, and it is an opportunity for them to learn from. So 90% of the workers must come from St. Kitts, and even from...
Imagine that. But if the majority of the structure for the school is being manufactured abroad and merely assembled here, what does that truly mean? Ask yourselves the question, my Straight Talk family. If the majority of the structure is being manufactured in Barbados and will be merely assembled here in St. Kitts, what does that mean? Can we say honestly that the local workers will benefit in a meaningful way from this project? Hell no. Or is this simply a statement designed to reassure rather than reflect reality? Moreover, my Straight Talk family, unlike the team unit administration, there has been no public consultation whatsoever. Decisions of national importance are being made behind closed doors, while the language of transparency, accountability, and good governance continues to be repeated daily. But words, and words alone, do not and cannot build trust. Actions can. And I've been told, and I researched it, once there is a precast development, labor is reduced by 2/3 or yes, by 60 or 70%. This precast structure that's been purportedly, I must say, developed in Barbados or manufactured in Barbados will cover over 50 or 60% of the project, which is a standard rule. So the bulk of the value of the Bastia High School project has been exported to Barbados. That's why you hear people say it's a Barbados high school, when this money should have stayed in St. Kitts and Nevis. What a poor decision by the Terence Michael Drew cabinet. Very poor decision for a country still recovering from COVID. Terence Michael Drew gave Barbados the lion's share of this project. And I went to Barbados, and as I said, I saw no precast slabs or forms or panels at this factory. I got a guided tour here, my Straight Dog family, and I saw none. So who is fooling who? Caller, you're live. Hello, caller.
Yes, Brother Patches. I thought I would have been quiet for the rest of the night, but I can't. Now, Brother Patches, since I've been listening to you, moving forward until tonight's date, of all candidates that I can recognize and acknowledge as leading charge, as leader of the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis, is Ian, educational, inspirational, instrumental Libod. I don't have to reiterate. I hope that even by the 11th hour, you will announce your candidacy. Whether it's an independent, that will give you the leverage as a leader, and you will have the support. I know you will have my support. I stated I am a candidate, but I will walk behind you. I'm waiting for you to make that decision. You will win. You shall win. Ignore all the rest. You are a man. You didn't born with a twin. You give an account for yourself. And I believe your leadership. First time I'm making that announcement, because I don't see a leadership in St. Kitts other than Ian Patches Libod to run St. Kitts. And I walk behind you in support of 100% in the due diligence for the people of the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. A man with examples, a man with intelligent and dynamic thinking. No much that I can announce right now. So I pray to God that He will inspire you and the people will support you. Every vote in the constituency that you are running, I will leave it right there.
So I'm humbled by your contribution. But if it's the will of God, I can say, so will it be. As the good book says, promotion cometh neither from the east nor from the west, nor from the south. But He puts one down and sets the other up. But I'm also guided by the good book, which says, be ye not like a horse or a mule, whose mouth must be held with bit and bridle, lest they come near you. That's my response. Caller, you're alive. Thank you for holding.
Yeah, Patches, me too thought that I was done for the night. But I must really come back and commend you for zooming in on this Barbados High School.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to really commend you for zooming in there. Realistically speaking, I can't see why the citizens of St. Kitts and Nevis are being ignored. Man, we deserve more respect and better treatment from our so-called leaders. This Jew-led administration, they are not thinking about the locals enough. And when that next election comes up, I don't see how they would be rewarded. The electorates have to take a stand and vote them out. On both islands, those incumbent governments got to go. We have a great chance to make history by replacing both governments on both islands at the same time. And I pray and hope that the electorates do just that. They just got to take away one seat from that Labour government, and that government is collapsed. That Bastille High School, they should have never entertained not even sending one job or $1 out of the country. That one project alone would have had Bastille bustling down there. And for them, that is a total failure for the people. And I wait and I watch, and I'll be on the ground in 2027 or whenever that election is called. And I hope I can make an impact myself when I get there. Thanks a lot, Patches, man. Have a good night.
Have a good night as well. We go back to the lines and take this and perhaps make this my final call. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller.
That is,
Yes, Bible man.
I agree with the man wholeheartedly. I will put my X on the ballot paper for you. I agree with that man there. I listen to him. I will agree with that man there. Next thing I could before I grab your phone. You hear there the Prime Minister having a address to the nation on the 14th of this month. You hear that?
Yes, I saw it advertised, yes.
I see it on for Facebook tonight.
Okay.
He address to the nation on the 14th of April.
Okay.
Well, people want to wonder, people wondering what he coming to say. But Mr. Badger, listen, a lot of people highly and esteem you. They want you to get bull ring. Where them from? They want you to bull ring Patches. You understand?
I'm listening.
And some people will vote for you. I will do the same thing.
You see now you like those politicians, right? Right? You see why they say you see why people call politicians dishonest? Here you come, you live in Tabernacle, but you're gonna vote for Patches. What kind of Bible man are you? Have a good night. Have a good night. You forgot the 10 Commandments, man. Okay. Okay, the Bible. Okay.
Why it is a fun.
Okay.
Why is a wonderful man. But I'm not a good Lord. I ask in the Lord that he is struggling to succeed when he bell ring.
Okay, my
brother. I ask him.
Okay. Have a good night, my brother. Have yourself a wonderful night. That's a Bible man. You know, said he will vote for Patches, but he lives at number 7. Got him. But as we wind down tonight's program, and that's just what they call a moment, a light moment. That's what they call it. Yes. And tonight we looked at our thesis. Tonight, and we examine the Bassity High School. Our thesis provided an update, titled Updated, the latest story of the Bassity High School. And when I heard this report...
So the question now is, has construction of the Bassity High School truly started? Yes, construction has started. As expressed by the minister last year, June, construction had commenced with the excavation of the site. This ran concurrently with the rendering and molds, design plans, etc. being prepared and tested at the factory in Barbados. As of now, the Bassity High School is fully designed and precasting and molding works at the factory has already begun.
You heard him. Construction has commenced. We tested at, he didn't say which factory, the factory in Barbados. So I bought a ticket and I jumped on an airline into Caribbean and visited Barbados. And a very good friend of mine working with Piconco gave me a tour of the factory that should have been producing or manufacturing these precast panels. I was incognito. He only felt comfortable with me taken this picture. This picture, which you see me standing there pointing to that pre-conco sign. Is also comfortable with me just taking a photo of some of these precast panels loaded on flatbeds all around the yard. But when I thought they were for St. Kitts, I said, well, this would be an expensive cost to ship to St. Kitts. Then I found out they were being transported to parts in Barbados. And my Straight Talk family, I confirm that no precast forms or no work is being done for the Bastia High School at Piconco. So the press secretary must take another trip to Barbados and tell me if you find otherwise. But my Straight Talk family, I want to make the point though, that once there is precast, labor is reduced by 2/3. You don't need so much labor as those guys running blocks. No, there will be a 60 or 70% reduction in labor. And this precast structure, I am reliably informed, will cover over 50 or 60% of the project costs. And this is a standard rule. So the bulk of the value of the Bastia High School project has been exported to Barbados, when this money should have stayed here in St. Kitts and Nevis and circulated throughout the economy. So I can only conclude, my Straight Talk family, that this is a poor decision by the Terence Michael Drew administration. And I hasten to repeat, it is even more terrible a decision for a country that is recovering from COVID. Remember what we went through 3-4 years ago? And come Terence Michael Drew, and he gives Barbados the lion's share of this Bastia High School project. So too he has done for the Robert Llewellyn Bradshaw Airport Expansion Project, giving that to another Bajan. He loves Barbados, doesn't he? He was married in Barbados at a government-owned hotel in Barbados. But the story of the Bastia High School is more than a timeline of political administration. It is a test of leadership. It is a measure of whether those entrusted with power are willing to act in the best interest of the people, even when it requires continuity, humility, and openness. We must ask ourselves, are we satisfied with decisions made without consultation? Are we comfortable with abandoning completed plans, approved designs, and vetted locations, only to start anew under a cloud of uncertainty? And most importantly, are we willing to accept a process that leaves more questions than answers about the future of our children? And this must not be about partisanship. This must be about principle. The education of our youth is too important to be treated as a political football. And that's what the slow student and Terence Michael Drew are doing. The people of this nation deserve better. They deserve honesty. They deserve clarity. They deserve leadership that values continuity over convenience and transparency over secrecy. Straight Talk wanted to ensure that the full story of the Bastille High School was told, not distorted, not hidden, but told in its entirety. Because only through truth, my Straight Talk family, only through truth can we build trust. And only through trust can we build future for our children. So I went to Barbados because I could not trust the propaganda being peddled by Terrence Michael Drew and the slow student Jeffrey Hanley. When I heard the PM's press secretary Javon Liebert, my namesake, when I heard his report that construction had started in Barbados, I bought an airline ticket and traveled to Barbados. And I got a tour arranged at Piconco. I inspected some panels, but confirmed that they were not for St. Kitts. And precast slabs are nothing new for St. Kitts and Nevis. But from a close-up look at Piconco slabs on that flatbed, they look flimsy to those that were manufactured right here in St. Kitts by the construction company that did the pier, Kelly's Construction. And my Straight Talk family, St. Kitts and Nevis is prone to earthquakes. Students and teachers may not experience skin rashes at this school if, God forbid, it's completed. Because Piconco may give us a building that will tumble down like a pack of cars after the rumble of the first earthquake to strike St. Kitts. The Bastille High School, without question, as I conclude, is a reputable institution with a lifespan of well over 50 years in St. Kitts and Nevis, and one that describes as a venerable institution that is highly respected, trusted, and worthy of honor due to its long history of success, stability, and enduring reputation. When we examine the motto of the Bastille High School, Principia non homines, and think about what some of these men and women who are doing, what they are doing to their alma mater, it saddens me to conclude that these very students have grown into women and men, but have discarded their principle. So my Straight Talk family, as I wrap tonight's programming, Terrence Michael Drew, as I said, is in love with Barbados. But after my trip to Barbados and a tour of Piconco, I can report, my Straight Talk family, after my trip to Piconco, I can report that no precast panels are being manufactured for St. Kitts. And that is the update, the latest story of the Bastille High School. Some call it the Barbados High School. And many ask, where is the 27 million US dollars gone that was paid to Piconco? Is it for somebody's campaign? Is it campaign financing? What it is, my Straight Talk family. But that's my story tonight, and I am not going to change it. I will thank Almighty God for guiding our conversation tonight, as always. I want to thank you, the many viewers, those of you who called and those of you who send emails. Remember, you are the ones who make Straight Talk, and for that reason, I say a big, big thank you. I am Ian Patches Liebert. And Godspeed until we connect on Monday. Have yourselves a wonderful weekend. Be good to all whom you meet, and remember that whatever your mind conceive, that you will achieve. But first of all, you got to believe. So when you wake in the morning, thank God for the morning light. Thank Him for taking you through the night. And my Straight Talk family, keep moving on. Bye-bye. Until we connect on Monday.
In the morning, I thank God for the morning light. Give Him thanks and praises for taking me safely through the night. For the rest of food and loving care, and for my mother's breath of life that's got me here. So whatever my mind conceives, that I will achieve, you better believe, because I do the things I should, be to my brethren kind and good, the best I could. So I'll keep moving on, I won't stop now. I'll keep moving on, till I reach the top somehow. Down on my knees, the Lord I kneel and pray, with my heart and soul, beg Him to take me through each day, my guardian to keep, and my guide, over every step I take, He will preside. So whatever my mind conceives, that I will achieve, you better believe, because I do the things I should, be to my brethren kind and good, the best I could. So I'll keep moving on, I won't stop now. I'll keep moving on, till I reach the top somehow. My way, with strength and courage from above. No man I'll fear, since God protects me with His love. Strong, pure and true,